Dub Nation. After the final buzzer. This is where you come for instant post-game reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is Dubs OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Hey, welcome in. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. What's going on, everybody? It's Dubs OT with JD and Kyle Haar here on the KNBR YouTube page from Harmonic in Thrive City. Cheers to a Warriors win as they get the job done 126-116 over the Dallas Mavericks. And so the Warriors, Kyle Haar, they've won 3 in a row for the first time since the middle of November when they were able to beat San Antonio a couple of times. And by the way, those 2 wins against San Antonio, those 2 wins have aged well since San Antonio now is the kryptonite that the Oklahoma City Thunder cannot handle. How about OKC getting beat by the Spurs for the 3rd time here in the last couple of weeks? But the Warriors kind of a dreary, rainy, windy, sleepwalked type of a game for the Warriors, even though it winds up being a game where they put up 70 points in the first half. It was a 70-point half for just the 3rd time this season for Golden State. Still missed a lot of open looks in the game, but the Warriors just get enough to get the job done and win for the third game in a row before they hit the road here, going to Toronto and Brooklyn and Charlotte before they come back home, and the schedule really starts to get home heavy at the first part of January. But all in all, again, we don't rate wins. It was kind of an ugly one, again, even for the Warriors scoring as many points as they did. But I don't think anybody's not going to take it at this point, given where this team was at a week ago. And things were ugly a week ago after the loss in Phoenix and heading home for the 3 games here before they go back out on the road. You had the Draymond Steve Kerr back and forth, which quickly got tamped down yesterday by Steve Kerr. We'll get into that coming up here on Dubs OT. But all in all, not pretty, but effective for Golden State today. What's going on, my man? Merry Christmas. I like the hat.
Yeah. First of all, Merry Christmas. I had to have the hat on for a little Christmas spirit. But, if you told me the Warriors would only get 37 combined points from Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, if you told me they won the game, I would kind of laugh at you. And 2, if you told me they scored 126, I would most definitely laugh at you. But I think that just goes to show the production they finally got from others on the team.
Yeah, others getting the job done, and that's been something that just frankly hasn't happened near consistently enough. And you look up, and the Warriors really won this game in the first half in the non-Curry minutes, and really in the non-Curry minutes through the whole game. They wind up plus 13 when Stephen Curry's off the floor. It was a huge DeAnthony Melton game. Plus 19 for DeAnthony Melton. He still is struggling with his shot, but he ended up taking 14 tonight. But he just does so many other things really well. The defense, the ability to attack. You can see why the Warriors love him as somebody that's going to be a two-way type closing player. Even though he is more of a guard than a forward, he can guard up and just provides a balance that this team desperately needs. Still, though, you look up at a 5 for 14 and you say over the long haul, you're going to need more than that if he's going to be a regularly finishing player. But they do get it in this game, Kyle, from a DeAnthony Melton. They get it from Jimmy leading the group, essentially, when Steph was not on the floor. And the bench guys, TJD. We joked a couple of weeks ago about, TJD, more TJD minutes, LOL, haha, like that was going to fix anything. But Trace Jackson Davis has found himself in the Warriors rotation here, and who knows for how long, but Steve Kerr has seemingly found some level of consistency, even with Al Horford back. And how about Al Horford?
Yeah.
How about Al Horford in the first quarter with the 4 3-pointers there to close the quarter? And Horford and TJD were out there playing together for a few minutes. The Warriors kind of went double bigs, but they got it from TJD. They got it from Horford in that first quarter, where he winds up with 12 of his 14, knocking down the 4 3-pointers there to close the frame. And it was the bench guys, basically, plus Moses Moody tonight, that were all in the plus, and Jimmy Butler. And it was Steph and Draymond, and you still need Steph's 23, but it was Steph and Draymond that were the negatives in terms of plus minus. But all in all, again, I think a really nice win. Dallas didn't do anything from 3. They kind of pounded the Warriors on the interior, but the Warriors are a better team with a higher ceiling this year, and so they effectively just kind of went out there and got the win.
Yeah, and I actually want to bring up Al Horford because, one, where the hell has he been? And two, I am glad that he got some quality production tonight. And when I just quickly think back to the games that he has had this season, I feel like this is the second game of good production they got out of Al Horford. Like the Denver game when he closed with that lineup, that comes to mind. But I mean, I can't think of any others.
Yeah, no, he was really, really productive. And there have only been a handful of games this year where Al Horford has been productive at that level. I mean, you can literally count him on one hand. So for Al to be able to hit some shots, because really that's what it comes down to. It comes down to shot making. Like, Al Horford can be a passer and a defender and a ball mover and all those things. Al Horford's on the Warriors, as I've said from night one, to make 3-pointers and to provide a stabilizing force offensively. And it felt a little bit like a mini regular season version of that NBA Finals Game 1 when Horford basically torched the Warriors in the fourth quarter, and the Celtics came in 2022 and won at Chase Center before the Warriors ultimately went on to win that series in 6 games against Boston. But it was, he has the ability to hit a few in a row, and we saw, as I think Diggum 1166, Horford heard the noise, I think is what Diggum said here in the YouTube chat. But we appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as we get things rolling here. Not on the radio for this Christmas holiday, and we should let everybody know that it is going to be kind of a weird week, and it already has been, with no Dubs OT show on Monday due to the 49er game. We're going to be with you here for about an hour plus. As we come to you, I'm at Harmonic. Kyle, probably at Christmas dinner somewhere in the Bay right now.
Christmas dinner in the KNBR studios in Daly City with Raph running the 1s and 2s for the NFL Christmas games on KNBR. But no, I'm chilling inside our Daly City studio.
No doubt. And so, yeah, we'll be with you on YouTube here today for the next hour. So can we cuss if we call in, JD? We can't. Can we send We the Champs a DM? We can maybe we'll start bringing people in. We can start DMing. You want to start DMing people and letting them on the screen, like DM them a link and bring them on stage. That's something we toyed around with the idea of doing. And yes, you can cuss. Although it's Christmas, I don't feel right. I don't know. I don't feel right MFing on Christmas, but yeah, we can't. Kyle, you want to break the seal on that on December 25 here? I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be out here giving out F-bombs and F-bombs left and right, but if it slips, it slips. There's no need to press a dump button on YouTube. No doubt. And so, YouTube today, unfortunately, we are going to have a Just Dub show on Saturday. So just kind of laying out the week here from 11 until 12. And that will be on the radio and on YouTube. We're always on YouTube and Twitch. We're going to be on the radio for that one as well. So don't call in and cuss on Saturday morning between 11 and 12. And then the Warriors have this weird a couple of afternoon games. Sunday they play an afternoon game at 12:30 Pacific in Toronto. So they go to Toronto. We're not going to have a Dubs OT for that one because of the 49er game. I'm going to be down at Levi's, and Kyle's going to be in the studio at the controls for the 49ers-Bears game on Sunday Night Football. We might get together and do a podcast for like a quickie little 30-minute podcast where we just kind of chop it up and talk about the game. We also might just save it all for Monday, which is kind of what we're doing with this show today. Monday we'll be on the radio and on YouTube and Twitch following the Warriors in Brooklyn. That's going to be right around 7 o'clock on Monday. So normal 7 to 9 type of a deal for that one. And then another afternoon game on New Year's Eve. Warriors are playing in Charlotte at
how
10
about
10 in the morning. 1 Eastern, 10 in the morning. And so we're going to go live on YouTube immediately following that game to close out 2025. And then things get normal from there as the Warriors are going to be back at home Friday the 2nd after the new year and Saturday the 3rd. And they've got 12 home games in January and 11 out of 12 to begin January inside Chase Center. So we'll be out at Harmonic for the bulk of those and on the radio and on YouTube and Twitch with the best YouTube chat in sports. And for some of these, we toyed around with the idea last year, Kyle, and I do think we need to play around with the idea even this year, figuring out a way to take some calls on the YouTube only shows. Also, maybe we do allow for a video link to be shared from time to time, and then Kyle can kind of navigate people that want to jump in with their comments as well, because we do like to keep it as interactive as possible. And look, most shows are kind of run under that interface of being on the radio, and so if you want to call in, you can call in that way. But we want to get creative with this thing and do everything we can to keep it as interactive as possible. But today, and this is the beauty of Dubs OT, it's the fact that some shows can belong to the callers and the texters more than others. But today, it's all about the YouTube chat. And we love the YouTube chat. It's the best YouTube chat in sports. And we're here for you. We're talking some Dubs as the Warriors have won their third consecutive game here, beating the Dallas Mavericks on Christmas, 126-116 the final. So Golden State, they get the win, the 3 in a row for the first time since the middle of November, and the Warriors back to 16-15. And things suddenly feel a lot less dire than they did a week ago when it really did feel like all hell was breaking loose and the sky was falling, and the Warriors still need to make some moves. But we talked about it, the fact that, can Steve Kerr find some semblance of a rotation that is consistent with a regular starting lineup, and he has settled on that in these last handful of games with the Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Quentin Post lineup. He's really, he's gotten Will Richard back in to the rotation. He's got TJD in the rotation right now. Pajemski has played much better of late. He's still playing GP2. He's playing DeAnthony Melton. So they're figuring it out here as they head toward the back portion of December and the back portion of 2025. And I think that consistency has lent itself to some guys that had not been playing well getting more of an opportunity to know they're going to be in there. And I think it's led to some better performances up and down the roster for this team. Among those, Pajemski is the one guy that stands out. I mean, he's really played pretty well here over these last 3 games. Moses Moody has played better over these last 3 games. Yeah. And so you have to figure out how to do with what you have before you can look to change the roster. And I still think the Warriors are going to look to change the roster. We're now 3 weeks away from the January 15th date, 6 weeks away from the trade deadline. But again, this team has to prove that this season is worth really making a big move for come January 15th. And I think the last 3 games, Kyle, help send them back down the path that they believed that they were always going to be on.
Yeah, and I think I think going back to the rotation and the starting rotation that you mentioned, JD, and sticking with that, I think it's led to better production. I mean, Moses Moody has turned it around, and he's playing with a lot more energy on the defensive side of the ball too. And then play like you don't need to play 13, 14 guys, and I think they still need to maybe cut down to 9 or 10, but 11 guys get in tonight. But I think it's more so the guys that are playing know that they're playing and kind of know when they're going to come in, and that naturally develops a better rhythm for them and getting to know how the guys around them play instead of jumping into a rotation that they're not used to playing in and guys that they're not as familiar playing with in that lineup. So I think there's just been better consistency overall with the lineup. And one more thing regarding the rotation that I wanted to take away from this game was I thought it was a good closing lineup and a really good idea from Kerr going with all defensive guys when the Warriors weren't making shots. So they go with 4 two-way guy or 4 guys that are good defensively in Melton, GP2, Jimmy, and Draymond, and then of course Steph. And in a game where they weren't hitting shots and they had a 7 to 8, 9 point lead at the time, I thought that was a good closing lineup.
I give the Warriors credit too, and I know Dallas got it down to 5, I think a couple of different times, but for the most part, the Warriors were up anywhere between 9 and about 15 for the bulk of this game. Really, from the end of the first quarter when Al Horford hit the 4 threes. Warriors put up a 40-point first quarter in this game, and they were getting to the free throw line. They weren't really hitting any threes until Horford got it going there at the end of the quarter to get hot. And you look at some of the numbers on that. 5th time this season, the Warriors have a 40-point quarter. 2nd time they had a 40-point first quarter. We talked about the 70 for Golden State in the first half, just the 3rd 70-point half. And it didn't feel like the Warriors really offensively exploded in this game. But you look at the first quarter, the first half, and really the overall total, and they wound up having one of their better offensive output games of the year when they only shoot 44% and wind up being 14 of 50 from 3-point range overall. So under 30%, basically, closer to 25% than 35 or 40% from 3-point range, but they limited turnovers. I did think the ball movement was really good in this game. They ended up with 33 assists to 11 turnovers. So they were moving the rock. And they got to the free throw line. A big advantage for the Warriors at the free throw line, 26 free throw attempts as they hit 24 of them. Mavs missed a bunch of free throws in this game. And the Warriors, for not hitting a ton of three-pointers by their standard, 14 of 50, they had a 10 3-point advantage over Dallas, who only made 4 three-pointers. So Warriors got killed in the paint, but they handled their own in terms of the 3-point shot. And Dallas wasn't even really taking a lot of 3-point shots. 4 for 14 in the game.
And the Warriors with 50 3-point attempts. Shooting 14 for 50.
Unbelievable juxtaposition. The Warriors bench outscores the Mavs bench 64-54. And again, Warriors did get hit in the paint 72-56, but you make up for it at the foul line where you wind up being a plus 10, and you make up for it in terms of 3-pointers where you wind up being a plus 30 in terms of 3-pointers, making 10 more 3-pointers than the Mavs did. So, some early thoughts and questions coming into this game for me. How would the Warriors handle the Mavs' size? And I think, again, in some ways it impacted the game, but the Warriors able to easily overcome it. How did Draymond respond to the last two games after the spat with Kerr on Monday night against Orlando and then being ejected and having the Warriors basically play better without him in both of those games. It's interesting, Draymond's still a part of that closing lineup. I thought Draymond really was purposeful early in the game, pushing the tempo, trying to get the ball up the court. He was really doing his thing, trying to make life difficult on Anthony Davis, or before Anthony Davis went out due to the groin tightness. And so tonight, another night, though, where they wind up being, in terms of the plus minus, better with Draymond not on the court. But it was a little bit of a weird afternoon because it was, they were also better with Steph. Steph, I don't know what the deal is on Christmas, except for last year, but historically, Steph not his best games on the Christmas holiday. We've seen it before. Again, last year was the exception to the rule where he went for 36 or 38, I think, in the game against the Lakers, where Austin Reeves got the last laugh at Chase Center and the Lakers won. But how would Draymond respond tonight? I thought was going to be something to keep an eye on. And I thought Draymond, the intensity, the pace, the defense, I thought all that stuff was there for Draymond. And I think Steve Kerr really did everybody a solid by, right or wrong, true or not, basically saying, hey, I'm as culpable in the back and forth that happened on the Warriors bench Monday night against Orlando as anybody. I got a little carried away. I might have been a little bit over the top in terms of my criticism or the way that I delivered my criticism of Draymond in the game on Monday. And so he kind of took the blame on it. And I think that makes it real easy, whether it's right or wrong, true or not true. I think it makes it easy for everybody to move on. And I think the Warriors really did a nice job of moving on from that particular situation as we now approach 72 hours since it happened. And I thought Draymond's working his way out of a funk. And I think tonight, even though the plus minus numbers weren't there, I think tonight was a positive step toward Draymond trying to work his way through that funk.
I also think an underrated part, just like kind of outside of the game itself, was Draymond didn't really seem like he was arguing with the refs after every damn foul or every damn no foul call that went for or against him. But going back to the Steph and Draymond altercation, I mean Draymond took accountability too, and he was struggling. He was in a funk after I forget how many games it was after he came back from his injury, how many games he played in, but it was just sloppy turnovers. He wasn't at his best defensively, and I think that got to him, just the fact that he wasn't playing up to his standard. But I think it seems like both sides have cleared the air on that altercation.
Yeah, I think it makes it easy to put it all behind. And we'll get into more of that coming up here on Dubs OT, as it is Dubs OT with JD and Kyle Haar. YouTube podcast only here for the sports leader on this Christmas holiday. Merry Christmas to everybody. We'll get some Kyle's clicks here rolling in just a minute. But I thought the key initial swing point of the game was the Warriors getting to the free throw line. 7 free throw attempts in the first really 6 minutes of the game, and the Warriors hadn't hit a three. They were 0 for their first 7 from three-point range, but they were getting to the free throw line. And then Al Horford with the 4 3-pointers there at the end of the quarter. I thought, second quarter, after Dallas scored the first 8 of the quarter, the Warriors did a nice job of bouncing back in that quarter, still able to put up a 31-point second quarter. Dallas had cut the lead, I think, from 12 down to 5, and then the Warriors pushed it back up to 15, led by 13 at the half. Third quarter, Anthony Davis wound up not returning, the groin tightness. We talked about that. Dallas wins the third quarter, but again, the Warriors withstanding runs, I thought, in this game throughout the course of it. And things got a little dicey in the fourth quarter. It felt like the kind of game when it got down to 5, it felt like the kind of game the Warriors were going to have to push through. It felt like the kind of game, honestly, the Warriors had lost a lot this year, where it's an opponent where you think they're going to win the game. They're playing well enough to win the game, and yet they find themselves in a clutch game and miss a couple of shots or have a couple of turnovers, or somebody on the opposition winds up getting hot and you wind up losing the game. And so I thought when it was 104-99, it was really in that danger zone of, and this team's been so unable to build and keep momentum when they've started to build momentum, that I thought, man, this would really be a roadblock, because we talked about it a week ago after they got beat in Phoenix. This team needed to come home and win all three plus 2 of 3 to close out the road trip with the games that are coming in Toronto, Brooklyn, and Charlotte. Like they bottom line needed at 2 under 500 when they got beat in Phoenix on the free throws in the final second. They needed a 5-1 finish, and the 5-1 finish is very much on the table. We'll see what they do in Toronto on Sunday, but the 5-1 finish is not on the table if the Warriors don't come out and get these first 3 games at home to just prove to everybody, hey, there's a little fight in this team. And because you can talk about consistency and searching and doing things differently, but if you aren't actually going out and getting the wins, it's all just lip service at that point. And so I do give the Warriors credit for backing up some of the lip service with the actual play. And it still is clunky at times on both sides of the ball. But for the Warriors to not have this game turn into a clutch game with 2 minutes to go where it felt like they could lose if somebody, Klay Thompson hit 2 or 3 threes, I think that in some ways is a small sign of progress for this team. I don't know, Kyle. What do you think?
I mean, it reminded me a lot of the Pacer game. And yeah, Anthony Davis played, but he didn't play the majority of the game because he went out with an injury. But that Pacer game, the Warriors were up pretty much the whole game until late in the fourth quarter. And the similarity was, you have this guy, Quinn Jackson, no one really know, another undrafted guy kind of go off. And the Dallas, they were struggling outside of Brandon Williams. And it kind of just had when he hit that when the Warriors turned the ball over and he got that and one finish to cut it to 5 in the fourth quarter. I was like, uh-oh, this feels like a lot of the Pacer game. But granted, yeah, that game was 15, 20 games ago now. And so yeah, that definitely does show growth.
Yeah, and so yeah, I give the Warriors credit for that. Again, you look up at the end of the night and Steph's numbers kind of in line with a lot of the Steph Curry Christmas games. 23 points, 2 of 10 from 3, just doesn't shoot the 3 ball well on Christmas for whatever reason. But tonight was a Jimmy game. And I think I'll give you another bright spot and sign of hope. Jimmy has been a dog here in the last 4 games, really. And they made a point to say, hey, got to get the ball to Jimmy more, got to get back to trying to put him in some of the positions that they were putting him in at the end of last year after they acquired him in the trade. And I think they've enabled Jimmy to maybe do it a little bit easier, but I think Jimmy hearing the noise or Steve going to Jimmy and saying, hey man, you need to hear the noise. Like, we need you to be more aggressive. Like this team just doesn't have the margin for error for the big guns to be able to coast. And, Jimmy was brought to the Warriors to be a number 2. He was brought to the Warriors to be Steph Curry's, Robin, as he's joked. But in the NBA, you need your Robin to be able to go get you 20 freaking points with some regularity. And I feel like Jimmy, get into the double digits in terms of the shots. And I know he didn't end up with 20 tonight. He ended up with 14. 14, yeah. But 9 assists, 9 boards. So it's an active Jimmy Butler. He with Melton leading the team in plus minus at plus 19 and plus 14, really commanding and attacking the groups that he was on the floor with. I think we've seen a different Jimmy Butler than we were seeing for a long stretch here, where the Warriors were struggling from the middle of November until about a week ago when they got this thing going in the home game against Phoenix. And honestly, they played well. We can go back now after they've won the last 3 and say, as frustrating as that Phoenix game was in Phoenix, and it's definitely a game that the Warriors believe they should have won, there was somewhat of a turn in that game now that they've won the next 3 games that you can credit in terms of like some of the things they were working through during that second group of off days. I didn't love the rotation with all the short subs, but Steve stuck with it, and it has still been a thing. And I think, let's also just be honest with, Steve's still playing a lot of guys, but I think he's playing the guys that he wants to play, and he's playing the guys that he thinks gives this team the best chance to win. And, Pat Spencer gave him a boost in the games in which Steph was out with others. But you know what? Pat Spencer's role on this team might just be guy who steps in on nights where Steph needs to rest or Steph is banged up and takes on more of a lead role, and they run a lot of pick and roll and all of that. Guy Santos is kind of the go-to for energy when you need it. And, otherwise Pat's not going to play much or at all. And then, they've just left the Jonathan Kuminga thing alone, which we don't need to spend a ton of time on or really any time on, but it's just over. And, he's not played now in the last 3 games since he got his little reward in Phoenix. And you know what? This team still, they don't need him. Like the reality, and they don't need him, and he's going to be gone. And again, I just give Steve credit because it feels like for the first time, Steve's just playing the guys that he thinks deserve to play. It's merit-based, and you let the chips fall where they may there, and you adjust off of it. But I don't know. It feels like this team's trending back toward a better place again, with maybe fewer agendas on some of the playing time and the lineup combinations and those things. But I will also say those things are made a hell of a lot easier when you get even a shred more consistency from some of these guys who have been completely, consistently inconsistent for the whole year. You've gotten 3 solid games from Moody and 3 good games from Jemski, and you're getting TJD's doing stuff. Like, you're getting more production from guys that really hadn't been giving you a lot. And so that also is the difference.
Right. No, you're getting more production from the two other starters aside from Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond. Yeah, you're getting more production from those 2 guys because, it always felt like if one of those guys had a bad game but there was a guy on the bench that had a really good game, Steve Kerr would swap the 2 and start the guy that had a good game. But then the next game, the guy who just had a good game and is now starting then had a bad game, and then it would just be like, all right, let's just stick with a set 5 and kind of go from there. And from there you could adjust the minutes based on who's playing well and who's playing poorly. But no, I give credit to Kerr now for sticking with the 5. But yeah, it does make it easier now that Moses Moody has found some footing and is hitting some of these open 3-pointers.
Here is Jimmy Butler. And Kyle, do we have the share screen availability?
Yes. Is this via who is this via?
It's Jimmy Butler via Anthony Slater on Twitter. Jimmy Butler on the Draymond Green Steve Kerr spat in the Warriors locker room. My goodness. Quote of the year from Jimmy Butler. Okay. Kyle, are you seeing this?
I am seeing this.
Let's see if we can bring that up and try to play it.
Okay, here we go.
And boost the audio here. So yeah, feel free.
Right, can we see it?
I don't see it. Should I see it?
Oh, wait, hold up. I have to add it to the stage.
Right, yeah, share your screen. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, let me know.
Let's play it.
What's your perspective on the last few days here? You know, Draymond, Steve thing the other night, the apology, the practice.
That's just part of the game. When you've been together for so long, y'all gonna have arguments. It ain't gonna be quiet all the time. Like it's okay. You got two fierce competitors that have won it together and that want to continually win. We know what it is. And, you know, if you're looking at me, I'm just looking up like, all right, I expect that to happen. That's okay. We move on from it.
Did you learn anything about how they handle those type of situations being, you know, kind of this maybe the first
like that? Y'all yell at each other. Turn me on a little bit. I'm not going to even lie. I like that. I like the confrontation. It's good for us.
Unbelievable. We got it again. I know we're not on the radio, but that's another one that's going to have to go in the outro. That's another one. Jimmy, unbelievable.
Jimmy provides some of the best one-liners that you'll hear. You know.
Really does.
We got to do some closeout drills.
Unbelievable. I like that yell at each other. Turned me on a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Likes the confrontation. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Jimmy Butler is one of a freaking kind, man. One of a freaking kind. As we roll on here, Dubs OT with JD and Kyle Har. All right, let's get to some Kyle's clicks. We're going obviously commercial free here tonight from Harmonic. Merry Christmas to everybody late in the afternoon. We're all in our food comas from the Christmas holiday. I ate enough for 2 days last night, Kyle.
Nice.
On Christmas Eve. Make it up for the fact that obviously going to be at Chase Center today. But let's go right from the jump. I like to roll it back to even the early part of the show, and let's get it going. Robert Brown, I just got to see more than a 3-game winning streak. That's fair. And I think Robert said it the other night. He's like, I got to see more than one game, I think is what it was after the game against the Suns. I think that's fair. What makes it something if you're a Warrior fan right now? What makes you think that this is actually something different? Because we've seen this team get to the brink of a breaking point, and then they get it together for 2 or 3 games, and then you think, all right, maybe this team's going to turn the corner, and then they don't turn the corner. It immediately goes back to kind of lazy coasting type of play, inconsistent play from some of the young guys or guys that are out of the rotation. It becomes, somebody gets hurt because of the age, and then you got to change the rotation that maybe had been working because somebody got hurt. So what's the magic number, I would say, to the chat in terms of amount of games you have to see to believe this is something different? Robert says 2-1 or 3-0 on the trip will turn my feelings a good amount. I think 2 more. Digum 1166, consistency on this upcoming road trip. I think it's just got to be 2 wins against Brooklyn and Charlotte. The Toronto game, we'll see. That's the one. And not to say the Warriors can't go in there and win. They should be rested again. They will fly cross country and play the late afternoon game in the Eastern time zone. It'll be 3:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Pacific. But you look at. I think it's just get 2 of the 3. If you get all 3, then obviously that's 6 in a row. And that's some action, especially given some of the friction of the last couple of days. But yeah, I think it's got to continue. Can Podziemski keep playing better? Can Moody keep kind of finding it? Are you getting the production from the guys who are in the rotation right now more extended? For more of an extended time. What's the barometer for you, Kyle? As far as when do you think this is actually something?
I also think it's just like passing the eye test. Like, yeah, they could beat Brooklyn and Charlotte, and they should beat Brooklyn and Charlotte, but it's like, how do they look if they beat Brooklyn and Charlotte? Like, is it your usual sloppy, feels like they're coasting, win by 7, ugly win, or is it like we win by 18 and it feels like we have control of the game for its entirety, right? So I think yes, like two out of 3 would be great, but I also think like 2 of those teams are at the bottom of the NBA standings and are 2 teams that you kind of need to beat here.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn and Charlotte are just 2 teams that you have to beat. I'm just going to give the Warriors the benefit of the doubt. Just win the games. Just win the damn games. Like, that's like it's simple for me. Just win the damn games. If you get those 2, then you're and I think I'll even put it this way. I don't want to see the thing where you go to Charlotte. Where you go to Toronto and win and then lose one of the other ones. Like, if you're gonna like Toronto, I'm gonna put it this way. Toronto's the one game you're allowed to lose, but if you win it, you aren't allowed to lose any games. Otherwise, it's a disappointment. That's a rare that is a rare scenario that I will put on a trip like that. Usually I'll just say get 2, and any 2 is any 2 no matter how you do it. Now, Brooklyn and Charlotte must be wins.
Yeah.
Under every circumstance. And if you get Toronto, then you better go 6-0, and it better be a makeup +1 because you go 3-0 there for a game that you tricked away earlier in the season because you were so inconsistent. So it's 2-1, but if you win the Toronto game and that's the first game and that's the toughest game on paper, then you sure as shit better win all 3. How about that?
I like that. I mean, and also like it should almost be a given that you could pencil in Charlotte and Brooklyn as wins, but we've seen this Warrior team already kick games like these, and choke games like these and chalk them up for a loss, a la the Pacer game, giving them the first one of the season.
Let's get more in the YouTube chat. Kyle's clicks here. It's Dubs OT with JD. What's it going to take for you to believe that this is something real here in the chat? We're taking your comments, and we appreciate it here on this Christmas. We the Champs, babe, with Kerr at the helm. Dubs are a play-in. Wow, we the Champs just not feeling Steve Kerr under any circumstances, including now another 3-game mini winning streak. Moving forward here from We the Champs to another one. Dallas is ass. Clank. Yeah. Dallas isn't very good, but you handle business, you get the win, you move forward. Warriors have to knock down open shots, period. They're just not going to do that consistently. I mean, they're just not. I mean, and Quentin Post early, I mean, he's doing the job with the others in that group, but man, he has had a rough stretch from 3-point range. 0 for 4 in this one. I'm trying to think. Pajemski was 1 for 5 from 3. Melton was 2 for 7 from 3. Draymond hit the 1 from the corner. But, I mean, Will Richard was 1 for 5, but he was letting them fly. I mean, this was not a game where the Warriors were hitting with any level of consistency from 3-point range. But I don't know. That's the one thing about this team that I don't think is going to become more consistent than we've seen it. We've seen individuals have hot stretches. We've seen the team have hot stretches where, a couple games they make a bunch of threes. That's the one thing that I'm not signing up for that I think is going to be any different than what we've seen from this current group, which is, now all of a sudden they're going to be great shooters for 3 months, plus the playoffs with some of these open shots. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I'm good. But yeah, no, that's something that I think this team is this team at this point. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to be the team that they think they can be, they are going to have to do it. And I'm just not so sure that they can do it over the longest haul with the roster that they have. I think they still need to add another shooter. They need to add somebody else that can come in, if not a couple of guys that can come in and truly hit the open shots. Give the credit to Al Horford for doing it tonight, but they're still not getting enough of that, even in these games that they're winning. Even in the game against Orlando Monday, going back and watching that after I got back to the Bay, like they even in that game, they're just a lot of shots that you want this team to be able to hit that they're not hitting.
And a lot of wide open shots that are created from Draymond and Jimmy. And I did think there were a couple instances tonight where I was like, where Draymond or Jimmy or Steph like drove the lane. I was like, you have like a layup. You have a layup, and then they kick it out for like a Moody post pods three.
Yes. Lots of the shot. It's interesting because I think we debate all the time, do they need another creator? And I think they do need another creator, but their shot creation numbers have been pretty good.
Yeah.
And in the shot creation has been much better than the shot making to this point in this season. When you dig into the analytics, I think about a week ago they were 20th in shots, but shots created they were like 12th or something. Like there's a disparity.
I want to say they were like close to top 10,
close to top
like,
10,
and like shot quality or
right.
Like that,
so they're getting shots. They're just, but then when you're getting shots at that rate and then you're hitting, you're hitting a lower level of them, that's not going to happen. San Jose Jazz fan 8 hot take: missing a layup is better than missing a 3? Is that the take? Is that how
way greater, and I think San Jose Jazz fan is being his sarcastic self there.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but we always appreciate it from San Jose. Official Dr. Piss, we can say that because we're not on the radio. What's up, Dr. Piss? How do you feel about a Thompson reunion at the deadline? Or you're baiting me here, aren't you? I want no part. I'm watching the Mavs, Kyle, and I actually look at the Mavs roster, and I think the Mavs roster is ripe to pluck a bunch of guys away to bring to the Warriors at the deadline if they look to get super creative with sending some guys out and bringing some guys back. I mean, there are a bunch of guys on the Mavs that I would want on this Warriors team between now and the end of the year. Klay Thompson's not one of them. I want no part of Klay Thompson coming back to the Warriors this year. No part of bringing in somebody that you think has to be a part of your main lineups or has to be a part of your closing lineups. Klay Thompson's a glorified Buddy Hield at this point. And Buddy Hield's not in the Warriors rotation right now. Like, let's not go back and revise history because of a little bit of separation in time as to how the Klay Thompson tenure ended. And look, that doesn't mean it's not all love when Klay retires. It doesn't mean Klay can't come back at some point, maybe later down the line for a farewell tour or a one-day contract. But Klay Thompson sucked the life out of this Warriors franchise out the door in that 23-24 season. And he deserves the cheers and the ovations for everything that he brought. He does not bring good energy and good vibes to this Warriors team right now. He didn't when he left. He wouldn't have last year. He was still very much an angry, bitter, unaccepting of the player that he currently is, player last year in Dallas, honestly. And he is going to wind up somewhere. He didn't sign up for what he got in Dallas, but I also think there is a lesson in the grass not always being greener for Klay Thompson in what happened in Dallas, because he has not been on a team that's been as good or better than the Warriors really at any point since he's left the Warriors. So I think that's, again, maybe for a farewell tour or a one-day contract and all that. And look, hang his number in the rafters, build a statue. It is all going to be love eventually. But Dr. Piss, I want no part of a Klay Thompson reunion at the trade deadline, and I think the Warriors would be foolish to look to do it. Now, that being said, P.J. Washington isn't trade eligible till the offseason, but I'd take P.J. Washington on this Warriors team before I would take Klay Thompson. I'd take Anthony Davis on this Warriors team before I'd take Klay Thompson. And I don't even really want Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis is fat and out of shape, which is and that's what happens when you're fat and out of shape. You get muscle injuries and tweaks and pulls, as was him kind of half-assing it through 11 minutes tonight before tapping out because he tweaked his groin.
Yeah, he didn't look good. He did not look good.
I'd take Najee Marshall on this Warriors team before I'd take Klay Thompson. I'd take Brandon Williams.
Yeah, give me some Brandon Williams.
I'd take Brandon Williams on the Warriors before I'd want Klay Thompson. I'd take Max Christie. I'd take Gafford. Hell, I'd even take and Caleb Martin on the Warriors. I'd take Hardy on the Warriors before I'm not going to go as far as to say D'Lo because we've been there, done that. But I mean, there are a bunch of guys on the Mavs that I would take. Lively's obviously been out and injured. I don't think you're getting him even if he was healthy. But I don't know. I can think of 5 or 6 guys I would much rather have than Klay Thompson on this. I'm sure I'm going to get filleted in the chat. Like I'm sure I'm sure people are going to be all pissed off and think I'm being a hater. Would I take Kyle Kuzma? Yeah, I would rather have Kyle Kuzma than Klay Thompson at this point. Yes. In 2026, which is where we're headed here in a week, I would rather have Kyle Kuzma on the Warriors than Klay Thompson. Then 2026 Klay Thompson.
I guess the only pro.
Get in your feelings, Kyle. Bring back the nostalgia. You can come down my road. Disagree.
No. The only pro, and I'm not saying that you need to trade for Klay Thompson, but if you were to, yes. How about them? They were out on Klay's boat in the bay,
and she was at the game. She was.
She was. Damn, they didn't pants her. Damn,
yeah, she was at the game. She was at Chase Center. In fact. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was there. So, I mean, great. I mean, again, I'm all for Klay living his best life. Again, no ill will. I just don't think he's somebody that you want on this team. He is a, he's a glorified Buddy Hield or Corey Kispert at this point. Like, it just, like.
Oh, I'd take Corey Kispert.
I'd rather have Corey Kispert at this point than Klay Thompson. Well, I mean, again, think about how silly that sounds, right? Yeah, because of what we know of Klay Thompson's career. But the reality is he ain't that guy right now. And you know what? Nobody should think that him coming back to the Bay is going to free him up to be this turbocharged sixth man off the bench shooter, because he didn't want to be and wasn't that guy when he left, and he left a year and a half ago. It's not like he left 3 years ago. I still don't think Klay's fully accepted where he is in his career. I really don't.
I also, like, I would give him the benefit of the doubt because I think, he went to Dallas because he would play with Luka and he wouldn't have to handle the ball. All he would have to do is stand in the corner.
And they coddled his ass, and they said, you're going to start, and you're going to, even though you shouldn't be starting, we're going to start you, even though we have better players. That they coddled his ass. And I'll say this, and then I'll let you finish because I jumped you there, Kyle, so I apologize. But I don't hold Klay. I think because it turned into a shit show when they traded Luka, I think Klay's actually been more accepting of his role only because he knows, hey, F this. This is a shit situation that's not my fault, not what I signed up for. Nico Harrison's an imbecile. Like that. So I think he's actually kind of F it. I'll do whatever now because this team sucks and I'm going to get the hell up out of here at some point, once you get to the trade deadline. But I know Warrior fans are not going to like to see it. And we'll see if these two teams can actually even do business, given the last time they did business. But I think Clay to the Lakers is probably the kind of thing that we're going to see at some point during the as we get closer to the deadline.
Yeah, no, I was saying that, I think he went to Dallas because, he wouldn't really be asked a lot, and he could just, let Luka set him up and basically stand in the corner and shoot some corner threes. And I think that's where he is in his career now. Is he's not the same ball handler or shot creator that he was even just like 3-4 years ago, and he's not the defender that he used to be. Really he's a stand and catch and shoot kind of player now.
No question.
Sorry, just to finish it up. He needs to get to a team where they're not going to ask a lot of him, and he could just kind of stand and be that catch and shoot guy.
Totally, and I think that's, again, he's going to come to a point where I think he will eventually accept where he's at, and how much time will be left in his career to be able to find the right team in the right situation at that point. But I just don't think it's going to be the Warriors in 2026. Maybe in 26. I was telling somebody at the game that I thought it's really a year-to-year proposition, because at some point I think Clay probably will realize, okay, I ain't that dude anymore, but I can be this other dude, Buddy, a better version of Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
But the team that gets him at the point in which he accepts the fact that that's who he is going to be the team that really benefits. And I just don't see him ever honestly doing that with the Warriors. But I really don't see him doing it with the Warriors in the early part of 2026. It all just feels too soon. And let's be honest, he wanted to go. Like, for everybody saying, hey, bring him back. He wanted to go. And so I think that you also have to think he probably doesn't want to come back this soon because he wanted to go. So anyway, let's continue in the YouTube chat here as we get closer to 6 o'clock. Let's see. I've seen the game, and the Dubs and Mavs are not that far apart with AD healthy. Both are playing team. Probably a difference between a 7 playing team and a 10 playing team. I don't think the Mavs are very good. I think they have a completely imbalanced roster. They got a ton of bigs. I mentioned Daniel Gafford, right, among the guys.
Yeah.
I'd take Daniel Gafford. I mean, I think although do you really need Daniel Gafford when you have Daniel Gafford at home and TJD?
I'll play Daniel Gafford.
Warriors have Gafford at home. They got TJD. They got Trace Jackson Davis. They don't need Gafford. Look, the Mavs could be. I mean, I think the Mavs might technically be a play-in team right now. I haven't looked at the stand. I think they were maybe coming into today. They've slipped out. So they're the first team out. They're 12-20.
20, and they would be a playing team.
And again, the Warriors get to 16-15, so they're 4. I mean, there's a 4.5, 5 game difference between these two teams at this point. If AD healthy, you know what? I'm not going to do the AD healthy because AD's fat and out of shape. You know what AD's got going right now? You remember James Harden when he was trying to get traded out of Houston at the end?
Yeah.
Remember, and he showed up.
It was. And
he was like one of those inflatable Santas, man. Or those those big snowmen that you can put up on your front yard. Those ones that they're like the size of your house.
Yeah.
That was James Harden when
we have this dancing Santa figure at
There
home.
you go.
Yeah, that's James Harden.
That's James Harden. It's also Anthony Davis at this point. Like there's a difference between being hurt and being fat and out of shape, and that's why you're hurt. And Anthony Davis is fat and out of shape. And so I don't think I would touch Anthony Davis at this point. I would take because of who you'd have to give up. You're talking Draymond or Jimmy or and Kuminga and other stuff. If you're looking to do that, I know Davis's name popped up of late, Kyle, but I'm watching him and he's basically quit on the season. It feels like in terms of his conditioning because the Mavs had quit on the season a year ago when they traded Luka. They quit on last season, this season, and probably the next 4 or 5 seasons until Cooper Flagg looks like a player, though. I will say that Cooper Flagg's awesome, and he's going to only continue to get better. But I don't know, man. Like I'm out on Anthony Davis. Also, I would take him before I would take Clay if I'm the Warriors. But given what you would have to get up, I wouldn't take him at all. I put both those guys actually in the no category.
I also I think the idea of Anthony Davis sounds really good because Anthony Davis went on the Lakers. I mean, even on the Pelicans, he always killed the Warriors and he checks a lot of boxes that, athletic big, can handle the ball, can stretch the floor, can block shots. But yeah, I mean, if he's going to be, if this is the Anthony Davis that you're getting, a fat, out of shape, unproductive, kind of gets locked down by Draymond, throws up the 30 early shots in the game and then kind of takes a seat after that. Yeah, I don't want it.
Yeah, it's just it ain't it. All right, let's continue in the YouTube chat. Kyle's clicks as we roll toward the top of the 6 o'clock hour. We've been rolling for about an hour. We'll probably go another half hour or so, as long as Kyle doesn't have to get to his Christmas dinner in the Daly City studios here. Draymond stands out at -9. Melton and Butler stand out +19 and +14. I would agree. I don't think Draymond was as bad as his -9 tonight. I don't know, Kyle. What did you think? I thought it wasn't a great Draymond game. I thought his intent early was really good. He did have 2 turnovers, which, again, you can live with 2 turnovers. You can't live with 5 to 8 turnovers from Draymond Green. But I don't know. I saw Draymond's game as he's really trying to work himself through some shitty play to get to a point where he can be a more consistent, positive contributor.
I thought once again it wasn't his best offensive play, but I thought at the defensive end he really brought it, especially late. The double team against Nembhard, I believe.
Yes.
With him and Steph created that turnover. And then the following, maybe it was another possession or two, he had a perfect closeout on Max Christie, forced the missed 3 that led to the Steph 3 on the other end to really
put him up 11, I think.
Yeah, to really put the game to bed. So I thought defensively a lot better and his on-court behavior and body language was a lot better as well.
Yeah, so I think, again, still trying to work his way through it. This is a good means to kind of segue a little bit into the Draymond stuff from the last couple of days. And we weren't on because of the 49er game on Monday night. And look, it's kind of been put to bed because of the way Steve Kerr came out yesterday at the Warriors practice and addressed it. Really, the reality, though, is this is the 3rd game in a row where the Warriors went out and basically played better when Draymond Green was not on the court. And, while I do agree that Draymond's trying to work through it, and look, I'm not one of these Draymond's got to go, you got to trade Draymond, look to move on from him. I think there's a very small list of players, Kyle, that you'd want to trade Draymond Green for, even consider trading Draymond Green for. And here's the reason, and you said it, some big possessions late, right? The energy and the intensity was right there. Draymond Green is still a war daddy in the big moments. The problem, though, is there aren't enough big moments that capture his attention to where he's motivated like he was against Wemby a month and a half ago. but he still has it. But he has it less frequently, which is often what happens when players get old or lose a step. And I think that the resolution to all of this, Kyle, really is the Warriors have learned here. It's not Draymond has to go. It's not you have to move him. It's not he stinks. It's not he's washed. It's none of those things. But I think the one thing that the Warriors are starting to learn here, and it goes back to, the last two games before this afternoon. It goes back to even the Cleveland-Chicago games that the Warriors won with Pat Spencer going off. And the Warriors can, on individual nights in individual games, move away from Draymond a little bit. They don't have to. If he doesn't have it, and his energy's bad, or he doesn't have the zip or the intensity because he's such a big game junkie, and these regular season games don't do it for him to get him going, to play through the oldness at times, then go away from him. Take him out.
I really want to put up Zigham's comment because I think it's just hitting the nail of what you were talking about with Draymond.
It might even be less than that. Honestly, Diggum, you said it perfectly, man. Like, we still need Draymond, but would they consider maybe minimizing him to 25 or 30 minutes? 20 to 25 minutes, I think, could be on the table in some situations. I really do. 20 to 25 minutes. I think could be.
I do think, though, that maybe this forces their hand to upgrade at the center position because, if Quinn Post and Trayce Jackson-Davis and Al Horford don't have it, and we've seen numerous games where they don't, it's where do you turn to? And then that's going to be all reliable Draymond coming in and playing that 5 position. And that kind of sparks, part of his frustration, right? That he didn't want to guard centers that are 40 to 50 pounds heavier than him. But
and the Warriors are in a tough spot with that because I do think Draymond is not as equipped to play the 4 as we've talked about a lot. Like, he almost has to play. It's better. He almost has to play the 5 for the Warriors to have enough playmakers and shooters or shooting threats on the court to maybe get through a game, because Quentin Post is too inconsistent, even though Quentin Post has been pretty solid, I feel like, defensively. But the shot making has been the most inconsistent part of Quentin Post's game, which is obviously not what you want. But Diggum, I still think an athletic big would benefit the Warriors a lot. Well, they're reportedly looking. They're looking at Gafford. They're looking at Nick Claxton. I know Chris Haynes had that report within the last couple of days, and Haynes is really piped in. Good dude, good reporter. And so he mentioned those 2 names, I think, specifically.
And Robert Williams, I believe, was the third name.
Yeah, Robert Williams was another one that Chris mentioned. So I think those are all – they don't seem like fits next to Draymond. But you know what? If we're on this tip where maybe you're going to limit Draymond's minutes a little bit to have him fresh and ready for the games where you really need him, then I think, that's an area where I think you could look at maybe, trying to get another big. So I don't know. I think that's the answer. That's the answer, I think, moving forward.
Yeah, I think so too. And now thinking about it more, I start to really like the idea of, you don't need to get a top tier center, but that level right below it where they can give you 20 really productive minutes a night.
You also need a wing more than you need a big still.
Yes.
So you can't you got to flesh out trying to get the wing player first, and then maybe you end up going to the big. But I don't know. Do you think here's one thing I've heard a little bit the last couple of days as it relates to Draymond, that it's similar to Clay. I don't think Draymond is unwilling to accept a lesser role. And I know Steve Kerr said, hey, Draymond came to me at the training camp. I'd come off the bench. And I know our buddy Gene has said a lot, we'll bring Draymond off the bench. the Warriors don't have anybody to bring Draymond off the bench for. Like they don't have a guy. Like, who would you play at the 4 if Quentin Post is going to play the 5? You're going to play Jimmy, Steph, and let's say Moody. Like, Kuminga's done. Like, so it ain't going to be him. And I think that would be foolish anyway. Like, they don't have another 4 on the roster to where you do that. So you still start them. And Steve said, hey, I like the consistency of that group together. Yes, please. Thank you. Wonderful. Yes, thank you. Lovely Grace coming over.
Another round.
Yeah, why not? Happy holidays. But yeah, no, they I just think I don't think it's like Clay, where Clay clearly was defiant in accepting a lesser role. Draymond, I don't think, has that ego hit at all. Like, I don't think the issue with Draymond is I think I'm better than I am at this stage of my career. Therefore, I need to start. I need to play. I need to be. I think Draymond would gladly not play 30 to 35 minutes. I don't think Draymond wants to play 30 to 35 minutes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Cheers to Grace at Harmonic here. A little camera shy. Otherwise, we bring her over and let her say hi. But
I do want to mention, because it's just like right in my face right now, is because we have the TVs up.
Yeah. And, so what's right in your face right now?
No, a national weather warning. Tornado.
Here?
Yeah. San Mateo County.
Oh my God. Well.
Yeah. So be safe, everyone.
Be safe out there. Be safe out there if you're trolling around on in the aftermath of Christmas dinner, and here on this Thursday night. So I don't know. I don't think it's a Clay thing. Similar to that. Do the Warriors look to trade him? I know Steve kind of tamped that down. To me, the list is very short of guys that you would look to trade Draymond Green for. We've kind of hashed through that. I just think in the regular season, sometimes you need more offense than defense to get through games. And I think that's the other part of it. Like you say, we'll get a big that can, protect the paint and maybe a lob threat, do some of the things TJD's been doing of late. That's maybe a little bit of a bigger name. But to me, there are also some nights where just having somebody else that's a threat to score the ball at that position can win you regular season games. Like, they ain't going to win you playoff games. That guy ain't going to be shutting down Wemby in big moments, but like Draymond would be. But so I don't know. I think there's, I don't think you need to send Draymond to the bench. I don't think you need to send him to Milwaukee, via the Lakers or whatever it winds up being, to, in some kind of a massive, type of a trade. I don't think they have anybody to put in the lineup over him. Again, I think, we did see a little bit. The one thing that did make me think of Clay, remember the press conference where he said, I'm a effing great passer. Remember that?
Yeah.
That reminded me a little bit of Clay. Like, remember Clay used to be like, yeah, man, I'm going to shoot it. And I know I'm good. And remember, he used to kind of,
he had that like back and forth with Kawakami, yes. I believe. I forgot the question and the cons, but it was obviously after a bad Clay game, and maybe it was like suggesting that he should go to the bench or something like that, and Clay felt a little offended and kind of snapped back, and it was a little unusual of Clay. That kind of like snapping back attitude. I guess that was Clay.
I chuckle. The 209. I'm looking at the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line here. Even as we're doing the show on YouTube, you can always text in if you want. We can read the text. 209. JD, you should have a new segment called "What Did Draymond Do Now?" What did Draymond do now?
What's an old Draymond learn today?
What did old Draymond learn today? The other thing, just kind of running through, like, did Draymond quit on Monday. I don't think Draymond quit because he came back to the bench. Like, he went to cool off and he came back. Like, he didn't leave the arena. He didn't go home. He didn't pull a effing DeAndre Campbell. Like, he came back to the bench, and Kerr wasn't going to play him because the Warriors were doing well without him, and maybe wasn't going to play him. It sounded like Kerr wasn't going to play him due to discipline, right? Like, hey, we got into it. It was bullshit. He left. Like, I'm not going to, but he didn't quit on his teammates. Like, he came back and was on the bench and available to play if Steve had wanted to go to him. So I don't know. I just don't feel like it's about role and minutes as much. That's where I think it's different than Clay. And, Draymond's play is, I just think you roll with it. And you if others are playing well and Draymond doesn't have it, you roll with some of the other guys that you have on the roster, some of the other combinations. It frees up a TJD to play a little bit more, or maybe it's somebody else. And, I also found it interesting that, Draymond, from what was reported, and I'm trying to remember what the report was. I think it was Marcus Thompson, our buddy Marcus Thompson, that had relayed this on the Warriors Plus Minus show that he does with Tim Kawakami, that Draymond really didn't like the way that Steve had talked to him in the huddle. Like, there was a tone to it or a specific nature to it that kind of set Draymond off a little bit, which I found interesting. Then you have Draymond, or you have Steve apologize after the fact. So I think Steve can be a hothead, man. Like, Steve has a temper. And I think also Steve kind of knows that he can let Draymond have it because he thinks Draymond can take it. But Draymond, in the moment, if you're talking to somebody who can run a little hot, you think they can take it. But if you're striking the wrong nerve in the wrong moment, they lose their shit. And I think that is kind of what happened, where Steve was going in on Draymond, and Draymond's like, oh, it's like that. Like, I didn't think it was like that. And then it's like, all right, like, we've seen what's happened in the past when Draymond kind of snaps. And so I don't know. Again, I gave Draymond credit for walking away in that situation. It's just such a unique situation. I mean, I thought about it a lot, like on the plane coming back from Indy, and we didn't get the chance to talk about it on Monday, but it felt a little overblown. Like, oh, there's another Draymond incident. Does he have to go? It just, is this going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for Draymond? Like, I don't know. It just seemed like, hey, they've been through it before, and maybe Draymond's going to play a little bit less here and there because the Warriors have figured out some combinations to where they can play without him and be effective. But the whole, like, now it's the end. Like, that's the part that I'm not so sure about. But to hear Steve say it wasn't his finest hour and that he talked to Draymond and apologized. So I don't know. I just think they've reached a point where if Draymond isn't playing well, Draymond can almost be like anybody else on the roster, maybe not named Steph or Jimmy, where if somebody else is playing better, that guy plays, especially in the regular season. And then you use that as a means to protect Draymond and save Draymond for the bigger moments. So I don't know. I don't want to completely gloss over it. And we didn't talk about it Monday, so we're talking about it now here on Dubs OT, even after the Warriors win. But I kind of like the way Draymond responded with his intent and his purpose tonight, even if he didn't really play all that well overall.
Yeah, and if I may tie this to Diggum's point about getting an athletic big, and your point that we need to get a wing. I mean, I think, and we want to take away minutes from Draymond if that's the resolution. I mean, if you get an athletic wing that can shoot the three and can play 2 through 4, 3 and 4. Then that takes away Draymond at the 4, and you can play him at the 5 if Quinn Post isn't playing or TJD isn't playing well. And if Draymond's not playing well and Post or TJD is playing well, you could put them in at the 5. Well, but go ahead.
No, I mean, it's also like Draymond at the 5 is ultimately going to be a part of the Warriors' highest ceiling lineups in the highest leverage games, right? Like that Draymond at the 5 is like that's where it's going to be in the biggest games, in the biggest moments. But that doesn't necessarily equate with games at the end of December and the middle of January and late in March. Like it just the dog days. You have to just figure out a different way. It's kind of like we talk about all the time, where the Warriors almost have to have these 2-3 different teams based on who's available, who's not, who has it, who's healthy, who's old, who's not locked in that night, who needs rest. Like which makes it tough. I mean, it makes it tough because ultimately you want the War Daddy going up against Wemby on national television, Draymond, but you have to win enough without getting that Draymond in the regular season to where he's fresh enough and your games are relevant enough because you're good enough to where he can be that guy and help you elevate at that point. So I don't know. I think that's a good way to kind of tie off the conversation as it relates to Draymond. All right, we're going to go about another 10 minutes here. Dubs OT with JD. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube here. The KNBR YouTube page as we wrap things up from Harmonic in Thrive City. Merry Christmas to everybody. And again, kind of laying out the week here before we get to more comments from the YouTube chat. Just Dub Saturday, 11 to 12. That's going to be on the radio and on YouTube, of course. No show Sunday because of the 49er game against the Bears. We'll be back Monday night. We'll kind of do a combo like we're doing here where we'll wrap 2 games into one with the Toronto and Brooklyn games on the air, on YouTube. Everything gets podcasted. If you miss it, you can always listen back to our thoughts. That's going to be Monday right around 7 after the Warriors take on the Brooklyn Nets. And then Wednesday, New Year's Eve, basically 12:30 in the afternoon, man. It's going to be brunch and bloodies and mimosas and beers and out with 2025 and into 2026 on YouTube Wednesday. I don't know about, I'll be in the home studio getting ready for the New Year's Eve festivities. Kyle, are you going to be, where are you going to be Wednesday?
I will be here. I believe I'm working 10,
Kyle's just
10
living
to 5.
Kyle's just living in Daly City, man. Like Kyle's just living in the studio. We gotta get you a night out, bro. We gotta.
Well, no. I was telling Tim. I was like, look, Tim. I was like, the Warrior game. It's at 10 a.m.
Tim makes the schedule for Kyle,
yeah,
by the way.
Right. Yeah. He makes the schedule, and I was telling him, look, Warriors play 10 a.m. New Year's Eve. I was like, I would really appreciate having the night of New Year's Eve off.
Give me an early
so yeah, I was like, yeah, 10 to 4, 10 to 5. I was like, yeah,
I'm not going to be in the Daly City studio when we ring in 2026. We're not doing that. Doing that.
No, don't need to be there.
All right, let's get some clicks here. Let's kind of go rapid fire. Daryl Lightfoot, JD, Will Richard is so confused. If he's aggressive and scores 20, he gets rewarded with 13 minutes. Back-to-back games. Now he's afraid to be too aggressive. I don't think he was afraid today, by the way, messing with Will's head. I don't think Will Richard's getting his head messed with. I think he's in the rotation. I think he does make a few more subtle mistakes. I actually don't think the shooting or the offensive prowess is his issue. Sometimes he does miss assignments defensively in terms of rotations. I think his issues when he isn't playing is more defense actually than offense. But he's not shy, man. Like if he gets an open 3, he takes it. And so I don't know. I don't think Will Richard looks confused. I think Will Richard is wise beyond his years in terms of being an NBA player. I think he's probably got a double-digit NBA career ahead of him in terms of years, which you don't say that about a lot of rookies, especially guys that were picked in the second round. Like, Will Richard is going to play, and there may be another opportunity. There may be another time in the year where he doesn't play as much, and I think if the Warriors make a trade, maybe he doesn't end up playing as much. But Will Richard is a pro's pro at a young age, and I think he can handle it. And I think Steve Kerr knows he can handle it. Like, he stays ready. he stays ready to be ready, so you don't have to get ready. I don't think there's anything there, Daryl. I really don't. Can we please get a wing? We can toss names out, but I hope MPJ, I think it makes a move that MDJ, Mike Dunleavy Jr. Yeah. Got it. Okay, MD makes a move that fills out several holes on the roster. Yeah, they definitely need a wing. Take it easy. Good to see you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. They definitely need a wing. They need a wing above everything else on the roster, and I think that's what the Kuminga spot they're hoping is going to be. Keep going here, rapid fire. I know I say rapid fire, and then I want to take 10 minutes. Are they still playing 11 guys? I don't know how sustainable that is. It's December 25th, Gene. And are they playing 11? They're playing 11 tonight. No Buddy, no Kuminga, no Gee, no Pat. So think about that. Pat, Gee, and Buddy were all a part of the shorthanded group that helped them win in Chicago and Cleveland. And now they're all DNPs. Pat's sanity.
And have all started, maybe besides Gee, but have all started at one point or another.
Yeah. So you're playing 11, but man, those are four names that you would think given Kuminga's stature as a first-round pick and the way those other guys have contributed even a couple of weeks ago, you would think that they would be in the rotation. It is tricky because you do have a lot of guys of similar talent up and down this Warriors roster. Still playing 11. Is it sustainable? No, but it might be a different 11. Stay tuned in a week. Stay tuned for that New Year's Eve show. We may be talking about a completely different 11. A fixture, Dr. P. Jackson Davis has been an unsung hero, playing well on both ends. He has played well the last couple weeks. And again, I think I almost need to, owe an apology to kind of making fun of the reporter who asked about more TJD minutes. It didn't initially happen right after that game. It took a couple of games, but TJD's been firmly in the rotation of late. So, hey, he has been a factor. I would agree with that. Let's keep it rolling here. About another 5 minutes. JC Mack. Now they just need to break the habit of kicking the ball out after an offensive rebound when they can just go up and shoot a follow-up. Was it Will Richard tonight that passed up? And this wasn't in transition or wasn't off an offensive rebound, but I think it was Will Richard tonight who had a wide-open layup, and he kicked it out to Draymond for a three.
Yeah.
Will, take the layup, brother. Take the layup, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you don't and again, Will's like, no, we want the three. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable off the catch, whatever it was. You don't need to kick it out to Draymond for a three. Take the layup. Take the layup at that point. But yes, they do like to kick out for the three when they can. KM Johnson, has anyone asked what Seth's injury is? Yes, that was asked about during Kerr's pregame today, actually. And Kerr said the answer is we don't know what it is yet. Kerr said that it was a lingering injury. So I think it was an injury that Seth came to the Warriors with that was tough to describe, and he didn't want to describe it wrong. And so, like, he needed to have the training staff kind of explain it a little bit more. So kind of murky there. But look, and I get it, a lot of people thought Seth was going to be playing a ton. I didn't. He played great the first game. First game was his best game with the Dubs. When he was that against OKC back at the beginning of December. But so it has been asked about, but there was no answer, and it was kind of odd to have Steve explain it. Like, I don't really feel comfortable totally explaining it because the training staff is working through it with him or whatever. So, but it has been asked about. Cam Johnson, appreciate it. Diggum, I also think moving away from Buddy has helped the consistency. Yeah, I agree. I think, Buddy was given 25 games or whatever it was to try to work through it, and it's been some ups and downs. There have been some games where he has, some games where he hasn't performed, but I'm actually kind of surprised Buddy is out of the rotation, to be honest. But I think he's earned it, and it doesn't mean he won't get back in. at some point if the Warriors are looking for shooting. Let's get 49ers red zone. 5 to 10 games above 500 would make me believe. Yeah, we were having the conversation earlier. What do you need to see to basically make you think that this team is playing different in a manner in which it's sustainable or actually something? 3 in a row. We've seen 3 in a row. Saw 3 in a row in the middle of freaking November. And then we've seen really, I think, 2 or 3 times where the Warriors have reached this crisis point. That one, they win 3 in a row. The Cleveland-Chicago weekend, where they win both games when they're really up against it after they lose in Philly and everybody's going crazy. They win those games without Steph and others. And then immediately they go right back to losing 4 in a row. Losing 3 in a row off of the long break, around the long break. And now they're at this crisis point again, and they win 3 in a row. Can they just have an extended winning streak without feeling like they're at a effing crisis point and have it sustain? All right, we'll see. So they're 1 over 500. Yeah, I would say 5 to 10 is probably a good bet. I think 3 is the most they've been over at any point. I think they were 4-1, and then they were 9-6, and now they're 16-15. So can they get back to, can they push back to the 3 over and then get to, 5 to 7 at least above 500 here? These next 3 are going to tell some of that story. Although, again, you're looking at 2 over going into the new year potentially. If you get 2 out of 3, and then the 11 of 12 at home to begin January, and the 1 game on the road is down at the Clippers in Inglewood, and the Clippers have been a complete and utter disaster. All right, let's do like 3 or 4 more, Kyle. Let's do 3 or 4 more. Zerker X, Dubs will have to give up a lot for Giannis. Yeah, you're giving up Kuminga, you're giving up Moody, you're giving up Podge, you're giving up Buddy, and you're giving up probably 3 first-round picks and some swaps. Like that. Think of it in that vein. If you're looking at Giannis, plus contract matching, obviously with Draymond or Jimmy as well, and maybe you have to take some other shit back from the Bucks that you don't potentially want to take, in addition to giving up all that other stuff. So, yeah. All right, let's get 3 more. Joe Schmo, what could they use most, a big or a wing? I've said it, Kyle. I'm going to take a sip of my beer. Well,
I'll say
it's a wing.
I think
for me.
ranked a wing, ranked from.
I think it's wing big guard for me now.
Yeah. I was gonna say wing big guard.
Big has gone in front of guard. I think they have enough guards.
But I also say they need to trade away at least one of their bigs, and most likely that would be Trace Jackson-Davis, because we also don't need coin post Trace Jackson-Davis.
He might be,
and a fourth, I would say.
He might be showing a little more value right now, believe it or not, TJD.
Yeah, but bump up that value, TJD.
Yeah, look at TJD.
Good for you.
All right, let's get 2 more here. Excuse me, Gene. When Melton gets right, he'll be a problem. Melton's just got to get to where he can hit some shots consistently. He's not finishing in the lane, and he's not really knocking down the 3 ball. But if he gets that, he'll be in great shape. Gene, no doubt. I mean, he's going to be a guy who I think is going to be a part of the finishing lineups, as Steve Kerr has alluded to a few different times. All right, let's get. Can we play the thing? Are we going to play the thing? We don't have to play the thing.
The show closed.
Do we have 1 more before the comment of the night? No, the comment of the night.
Comment of the night.
We don't have to play the thing.
Do I have the thing?
I
don't have the thing.
That's all right.
Wait, no, I do.
Yeah.
So much. There's so much.
Comment of the night.
There you go. There you go.
Dubs OT, comment of the night.
We'll make this one our last one, and I'll play the thing here. Oh wait, if I can.
The Dubs OT comment of the night.
Diggum's having a run right now. Here's a hot take. Don't trade for AD. That ain't even a hot take.
Time for the Dubs.
Oops, it's on loop. Don't mind it.
Time for the Dubs OT comment of the night.
JD, I think you have a future in voiceovers, you know. No.
All right, can we do the fun with numbers thing? Can we play that?
That one I don't have.
All right, don't worry about it. We'll just run through some numbers here. Warriors 3-0 in the 3-game homestand. That's positive. Back over 500. 10-4 at home. They needed to straighten that out. They started off hot at home. Warriors have played on Christmas. How many consecutive years, Kyle? 13 consecutive years on Christmas. 15 of the last 16. First time for the Warriors and the Mavericks. It's a 1-0 season series lead for the Warriors over the Mavs. 71 in the first half, most they've scored in the first half this season. Again, Steph ends up with 23. Led the Warriors. He got over 26,000 points for his career in this game this afternoon. 22nd player in NBA history to get over the 26,000 point plateau. And Steph averaging 29.8, shooting 46% from the floor, 39% from three, 92% at the line, 5.5 boards, 5 assists since he's come back with a little over a steal a game in 33 minutes. Jimmy, 14, 9, and 9, missed his 20th career triple-double by just a bit. And D'Anthony Melton had a season-high 16 points off the bench. All right, Kyle, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks to everybody out here at Harmonic, Mike and Grace. Thanks to everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. We're back on Monday again because of the NFL Sunday and the afternoon game for the Warriors against the Toronto Raptors. We're not going to be on live on Sunday, but we are going to be back Monday night right after the Warriors take on the Nets. So it's going to be kind of a twofer where we'll talk about the Toronto game, we'll talk about the Brooklyn game, and we'll talk about the year as a whole at that point as we head toward New Year's Eve. And we got a stream only again like this afternoon on New Year's Eve. And then things are going to get really normal once we get into 2026 with a lot of home games, a lot of games out here at Harmonic, and a lot of Dubs OTs on the radio. So for Kyle and for everybody in the chat, I'm JD. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we will talk to you here Saturday as well, just Dubs, 11 to noon. Join us for that here on The Sports Leader.